Okay, welcome back to Elotic Ventures. Today I have Benjamin from Australian in Belarus, and he's gonna talk about dating and women in Minsk. So you go ahead, have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Look, this part of the world has a certain reputation for women, and some of it's earned, some of it's not, and it's certainly a very complicated and layered topic. But you know, if you come here and you get off the bus or get off the plane and you look around, you'll notice that there's an unusually dense concentration of attractive young women who are slim with long hair, basically, right? So what every guy wants, essentially, this is what you see here in absolute abundance.
They take good care of themselves here.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I find.
Definitely. And when I made a video comparing Americans and Russian women, I actually researched into the average weight of Russians and Americans and found that Americans, I think it was 18 or 19 kilos heavier on average. That's a lot, dude.
Wow.
Like,
It's
you think of
40,
those...
That's like 40 plus pounds.
40 pounds, yeah. You think of those 5-litre water bottles we get here to drink? Like these big suckers, I carry 2 of those up and down stairs for exercise. It's 4 of those on average for a person.
I can see that.
Yeah, and then actually Russians on average are 1 inch taller than American women. So it's not like a height thing or whatever. So
Well, Americans is kind of like a mishmash of all different ethnicities. So yeah.
Although so is Russia, to be fair, but
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the first thing you'll notice, right? Second thing you'll notice is people here, especially, well, everyone, but girls included, are very polite. There's a very well-trained Soviet front. You must be polite. It's partly Soviet, partly Belarusian, bit of a mishmash of both. So everyone's kind of smiley and friendly.
Well, unless they're walking somewhere. They're not, they appear to be not approachable and a little rude, but don't let that deter you, because if you go up and talk to them, then they'll soften up. But in the beginning, they do seem unapproachable, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have, like anywhere, they're going somewhere and doing something, but there's nothing in their actual behavior that would indicate that. Even though they're just not smiling or looking at you. I think that's what you kind of mean, right?
That's what I mean.
But I mean, if you say, excuse me, hello, like, people go to extraordinary lengths to help you. I mean, it's mainly because you're a foreigner. They do help each other a lot, though. Like, there is definitely a culture of this surface layer of help. They might not always like each other or trust each other or actually be friends, but there's this kind of civic duty thing here. That's definitely a thing for everybody. Everyone abides by, more or less. I remember almost my first day here. This is not a girl topic, but just as a helping topic. I was in the city centre trying to find this protein powder shop, and this guy walked me like 5 minutes to find it. I'm like, it's okay, dude, just point it out. It's like, oh, I'll show you. No, it's like, dude, it's okay, just point it out.
But that's nice. So my first trip to Minsk, I went to a place to get a donor, and it's one of these chains that are here in Belarus, and they made a donor. Okay, the girl actually handed it to me. I paid, and then before I actually picked up the donor, she picks up, goes, hold on, and she goes back. She unwraps it. She doesn't unwrap it, but she gets a red felt pen, and she draws a little heart, and then she gives it to me. I don't think she was hitting on me because I could be her father.
Yeah.
But I thought that was very sweet.
No, she definitely wasn't.
She knew I wasn't Belarusian. So she was trying to make me feel comfortable.
Yes. This is an interesting point because the girls here come across as very friendly, and in some sense they are. So by Western standards, we think that every girl's hitting on us, right?
Right.
So a guy that comes here for a few weeks.
Yeah, I would have thought that girl would be hitting on me if it was in Boston.
Definitely not. Yeah. But in the West, absolutely. Like that's a huge thing to do in the West. The heart thing there, that's like take my number and savage me, right? In the West. But here it doesn't mean anything like that. It's I think before, like, okay, so we've peeled back, they're attractive, physically attractive. Genetics, it's partly genetics, but probably 80% lifestyle choices. Dress well, present well, okay, cool. Polite on the surface, okay, cool. But the reality of dating here is that, you know, the core of the culture is not really a Western culture, right? So Western culture is an Anglo culture.
Traditional values here.
Traditional Stalinist values.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, if you look at the West, right, we have this kind of Christian base. And we've kind of liberalized somewhat. And every wave of, say, for example, feminism or liberalism, every wave of that that's come along we have, pushed back a little bit, accepted a bit, and we've kind of molded into that. Whereas this part of the world was entirely re-social engineered, right? So they don't have Christianity here. They have an Orthodox church, but no one follows the Bible, right? It's not actually a thing. So here they had total liberalism. So the Bolsheviks just cut everything to shreds. It was like everyone fuck, everyone just be wild, right? That's how it was.
Which is where America's going right now.
Which is, well, they did what
We're trying to get rid of Christianity in the U.S.
Yes, yes.
Australia, Europe.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's by definition the enemy of what's happening. But they did that here overnight, right? It's like das Vidania, totally liberalized. And then the place more or less collapsed, right? That's how Stalin got into power, just a 10-second history lesson. Because Stalin was like, okay, let's do a light version of Christianity. Super simplification, right? But they were taught, I guess, surface level behaviors, yep, rather than the underlying morality and principles of Christianity. So a lot of the stuff here, therefore, becomes very role orientated, very surface level behavior orientated. So that includes relationships, yeah. Especially younger girls, like girls under 30. This is what you'll find almost as a rule. That things are more, instead of wanting a man because a man has value, right? The girl doesn't really see you as that. There's no such, or very little limited concept of SMV, this sexual market value idea. It doesn't exist here that much.
Really?
Yeah? It doesn't exist here that much. It's more of a surface-based
I
thing.
think they're more traditional, is my opinion. I haven't dated here because I have a girlfriend. But in my opinion, the women here, they want a man. They're traditional. The man has their role. The women have their roles.
Definitely older generation still has that enshrined in them. That was
that's me, older generation.
That was a Soviet era thing.
Yeah.
Again, that was kind of role based, as much as SMV based. So that kind of, yes, I want real men. I want strong men. That's still kind of here. But look, man, you come to a place like Belarus, and the young guys are not like this.
I see a lot of betas, a lot of young betas. That's for sure.
The guys are quite subservient to women here, especially under 30s. You use the word docile, which is totally reasonable. So this is kind of what it's like. And girls is used to being the boss. It's quite especially Belarus more so than Russia and Ukraine, but it's quite a matriarchal society.
Well, I think
Belarus.
in my experience here, they want to be the boss of the house, which is fine. Outside of that, I think it's more the man.
Definitely
My
depends.
experience.
Definitely generational, rapid generational change here. So I guess you're going to go keep that in mind, because what you'll see, the upshot of this is that what you'll see is the most attractive girls are with guys who look like slobs. Right? That's what you get. So again, there's no concept of really SMV.
Now, do you think that they prefer to date Belarusian men or international?
Look, I think that most girls recognize the mentality difference and probably do prefer a local guy. I think you've got, let's just go 3 kinds of girls. Let's make it really simple.
All right.
One is a passport hunter. So you've got probably
passport hunter. That's funny.
2% of girls, 5% of girls, I don't know. Something like this, that really are just targeting a Western man for some kind of transactional situation and hopefully want to go to their country, right? That's just the reality of it. Then you got maybe a chunk of girls in between, 20-30% just roughly, that are kind of potentially open to it but haven't really thought about it. And then you probably got about 60% that aren't just really aren't that open to it, because they know there's a big mentality difference. And if you want a girl here who is pre-marriage age, so like 18, 19, 20, these girls have probably never had a boyfriend. They don't know how to court or be courted. The process of dating doesn't really exist here, right? So in the West, if a man and a woman go together, it's just assumed it's a date, right? Here, it's not assumed it's a date. Right? That's a really important distinction. You're just friends. Yeah, it's a Soviet era. Men and women trained. You are friends. You will be friends. It's your podruga, right? Your female friend. So the dating culture doesn't really exist here. So what I've just witnessed a zillion times is essentially what happens to get together. Rather than go on a date, you have a few drinks and you like kiss probably on the first date and even hook up on the first or second date like you would in the West. Here, you just kind of hang out a lot, and the guy just kind of orbits till eventually she has some kind of romantic connection with him. Now, I don't want to oversimplify things, But this is kind of the core thing that you see here with guys. I'm talking under 25s in particular, but it does spill over into older generations, but it's really accelerating with that younger group. So you're not really dating, you know what I mean? Like, you could hang out with a girl who's, say, 19, 20 times in 2 months, right? Intense, twice a week, 3 times a week, but it's still not really dating as such. You know what I mean? It's very tricky.
So what about the typical age gap?
For locals or for foreigners?
Well, I guess more for foreigners.
For foreigners, look, it's a tricky situation because you got to look more at what's available. So if you're not going with an 18, 19, 20-year-old, most of the girls who are actually really dateable, like, I don't want to be too harsh, but in reality, they're pretty much all gone by 22, right? That's 99% of them are gone by 22.
You think so?
You absolutely no so.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've got this gap when some of the better quality women come back onto the market as divorcees at maybe 32, 35. So you kind of got this decade of almost nothingness where you just got passport hunters and transactional girls for the most part. Well, I know people are going to get triggered, but this is how it is, man. Right? This is how it is. You will get exceptions, but very rarely. The girls have a lot of options here. There's a real simping, orbiting culture. They have unlimited options. Whenever they want a boyfriend, they can have one. So if a girl is single, she's doing it through choice.
Well, I used to live in Czech Republic, and I did notice that the women there, they like to upgrade, and they will drop their current boyfriend if they have someone that they think is.
Oh yeah.
Is that, you see that here in Belarus?
There is a certain kind of girl who does this here. That very transactionally minded girl. Maybe a quarter of girls here would do that, I'd say. Maybe a bit less. So they're very transactionally minded. We call it monkey branching in the era of internet.
I have no idea what
vernacular.
that is. Okay.
We call it monkey branching. And it does happen here, and girls have tried to monkey branch to me. Several have over the couple of years I've been here. And these are very transactionally minded girls. For them, the man has the role of serving them. So if they can get a better servant, they'll just swap like this. Yeah. There's no love there. They'll play the role of being in love, but not actually being in love. They'll just transition like that. They'll just swap over. Monkey branch.
I think that's, for the most part, the entire world.
There's elements.
Western.
In every country, some will do that, but definitely a high proportion here, without doubt. So I've given you a lot of the dark, grim, kind of advanced kind of ideas, but in reality, if you actually pay attention to what happens, instead of putting your Western mentality on what you see here and interpreting through a Western lens, if you do that, then you'll be oblivious to this. You'll just probably get kind of annoyed and angry and bitter or something after some time, right? But if you kind of like adjust and realize more the mentality here, and that involves being a little bit dark about it, because it's quite different to our mentality. Yeah. You will get westernized girls, and as I say, this is about age gap. Sorry, man. This is probably the best age gap you're going to get is if you're maybe 50 and you come here and you can get a great divorcee at about 35. That's good.
With one kid.
That's good. They'll have one kid.
Yeah, one kid.
But here, the kids are usually off doing their own thing. You know what I mean? They're not coddled at home until 30 here.
Right.
They're off. They're out. They've got their routines, their hobbies. You have a kid's 13, you won't see them. You know what I mean? That's the culture here. And you see that, right? I mean, you've seen this yourself. Young children walking around alone.
Yeah.
8-year-olds walking alone. 8-year-old girls, yeah.
No, I haven't seen that actually.
Really?
8-year-olds working
often.
That would never happen.
Absolutely.
Well,
here in
she's with their mother.
I know, but I'm saying a girl that age.
Oh, really?
I see a girl on the metro, go to the shopping center alone.
Maybe I'm not looking, but
maybe you stay in the center.
You would never allow that in the United States.
No, absolutely not.
That child could be taken.
That is one big difference here. This is something I don't talk about because I don't want to like encourage some kind of freaking.
You don't want to create that energy.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember one of my first weeks here, I was on the metro and there's a girl clearly alone. And I'm like, девочка, где твоя мама? She's like, Fatoma. It's like, где, whatever, едешь. It's like, Dynamo. It's like, what the fuck? Like, she's going on her own. And then I saw her about 2 hours later eating by herself in a food court. She's no older than 8. Yeah. And if you're going to pay attention, you see this happens quite a bit. Yeah. Alone, primary school, elementary school age, it's because we have a village. It's still very much a village feel here. It's not even Minsk. It's not that big bad anonymous capital city. It's still a village.
Yeah, I haven't seen this.
Culture.
I know in Scandinavian countries, if like a mother has a baby in a carriage, and they need to go to the store or they're in a restaurant, they'll leave the child outside in the carriage,
Oh wow. There you go.
and then they'll go inside and have lunch or dinner,
Yeah.
and no one will touch the baby.
Yeah.
But you can never do that in the United
Similar
States
here,
or
yeah.
Australia. And I don't know.
Oh, no, you definitely
I don't think
can't.
you can do that here. I
No,
don't think that's the tradition here. But,
oh,
in
you see-
in Scandinavia, it is. It is.
So yeah, in our countries, I mean, you wouldn't even think of it, right? That's why I was like, what the fuck's this kid doing on their own? They ran away from home or something? Or why is this girl wandering around on her own? It's like, but now...
I mean, listen. I was on Catalina Island, just outside of California, and I was there with. It's a big tourist place, and I was there with all my friends, and we were on the beach, and this mother lost her 8-year-old daughter, and she was running around the beach just frantic. Oh my God, she has blonde hair, blue eyes, exactly what they're looking for. And I was like, oh yeah, she's actually right. But she found her daughter. But it happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, the media probably ramps it up a lot too, to be fair, but yeah.
So, all right.
So yeah, in terms of age gap, sorry to cover on that, I think
All
that
right.
really the best age to come here would be around 50, I think. And you have a whole lot of girls that are divorced, which in our country is a bad sign, but here it doesn't matter that much. As long as a woman, for me anyway, this is my professional advice, as long as a woman's been, in the marriage, say 10 years, I'd say, as long as she put in that kind of effort, she's okay, man. It's okay. If she got married at 27 for 2 years, had one kid, fucked off at 29, that's different, right? If she got married at 18, had a kid at 20, divorced 33, that's okay, man. Like, I'd screen her in, not screen her out. That's the nature of kind of dating here. But in terms of like dating, I mean, even dating younger girls, I mean, you can have situations. I mean, my client, as I was telling you, just married. He's 46, she's 23. They just got married, Australian guy with a local girl. That's not
Good for
super
him.
normal. Not super normal.
Yeah.
But certainly I can see that some
Yeah.
girls who are, I'd say 20, 21, can be open to me, are definitely open to me. Some, a lot aren't. Maybe a quarter, something to that effect,
Good
would
odds.
still be open. So yeah, it happens. You wouldn't lead with your age. You wouldn't say, "Hey,
What would you
I'm
lead with?
25 years."
Would you lead with your wallet?
Mainly not. It depends the girl, because
I'm joking.
it's a very important discussion, because a lot of girls only want wallet, and a lot of girls feel uncomfortable if you leave. Like a normal, just a normal girl, she doesn't want you spending all this money on her. It makes you very
Well,
uncomfortable.
but I think they expect the man to pay when you take him out. Drinks,
Again,
food.
generational gap here. If you're talking about like a 19-year-old who hasn't really dated,
Really?
she really doesn't know what to expect. Like, she just doesn't know what's going on. And majority are concerned that you're paying. They'll fall into a rhythm with you at some stage, but certainly the first few times you might meet with them, like they don't really know what's happening, and they feel a bit awkward about it, potentially, more often than not. But if they feel super comfortable with it, that's where you know you got a transactional girl.
So when I was
familiar with this
when I was in the
routine.
dating scene in the 20s and 30s in the United States, whoever asked that person out, that was who paid.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's changed now, though.
look, in the West, as far as I know, in the West, it probably is still the man paying more often, or maybe the man pays for the dinner, the girl pays for a dessert, or some hybrid.
Well, you got some
situation.
feminists that just want to go Dutch, which is 50-50.
Yeah, I feel like the wave of that has turned. I feel like that was big 20 years ago. I feel like the wave that's turned a little bit. But you get that here now. You get some feminist girls in their 20s here. Not often.
I wouldn't
but
know.
you do get
I
them.
wouldn't know about that. I'm not dating.
Yeah, so you do get it here as well, potentially. But, it won't last very long. You know what I mean? Like,
So, is there anything that
token
we
it.
missed?
Oh, heaps of stuff, man. I would say here that, look, remember, there's really not any online dating here. So what I've found is, if you're a foreigner wanting to come here and date,
There's no online dating.
Tinder was banned.
Oh.
I mean, you have some whatever shitty local websites, but they operate as more like sugar daddy websites half the time, or just really the sloppy seconds. Like, it's,
There was Tinder when I got here 3 years ago.
yeah, they only stopped it maybe in the last 12 months,
Okay.
fairly recently. I think they stopped it in Russia first and stopped it here in the last 12 months.
So closing out the video, overall, do you think it would be worth it for a foreigner to come here looking for a potential wife?
Yeah, look, it probably depends what you want, and it depends your age. You'd want to, if you're a guy who values appearance over everything else by a fair bit, like that's your thing, your 80% looks, 90% looks, that's what you're looking for, man, this is your place, without doubt. If you want maybe traditional family structure, whatever, look, that's going to be a lot trickier. That's going to be tricky. You have to be a lot more flexible with that, your expectations around that in this kind of post-feminist, post-communist country, right? It's yeah, first and second wave feminism here was, how would you say it, molded into the population's mentality more than it was in the West. So although third and fourth wave, of course, is not really here, which is what guys see. There's like, girls aren't really sluts and girls look good, so guys get excited. But reality is first and second wave feminism here are stronger than they are in the West. So it's a tricky situation, but I would definitely recommend older guys, man. If I was 50 and I wanted to shack up with a nice lady and have companionship and whatever, maybe even pop out one more kid, the glut here of really attractive 35-year-old women is remarkable. Like that's probably your market. Unless if you're a transactional guy, that's different, right? This is also your market. But I just traditional Western dating with younger girls is a bit tricky. Possible, but a bit tricky.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you appreciate the mind of Benjamin. He's very analytical. He's really thought all this out. So if you want to check out his channel, I'll put a link down below, and you can go ahead and take a look and subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Until next time, ciao.